Welcome to Rocksolid Productions, where in this video we are going to be checking out the HDTV cable for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, coming to you from Hyperkin. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rocksolid Productions. Before we get started, if this is your first time to the channel, I just want to take a second and say thanks for stopping by and checking out what we have going on here with the channel. If this is your first time here, I do invite you to check out some of the other videos that we have here on the channel. And if you like what you see, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. That way each and every time we do go live, we have new content, new streams, anything along those lines, you're kept the most up to date. So today we have the HDTV cable for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 from Hyperkin. And this is designed basically to make it as easy as possible to connect your original PlayStation 1, the PSX, PlayStation 1 Slim, PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 2 Slim, to your modern flat panel TV. Behind me, this is just the PlayStation Classic. The nice thing about this cable is it can be had for, well, really about the same price as a PlayStation Classic, and it unlocks the library of both systems. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the box, throw it on the bench, see how it comes out of the box, the accessories that it includes, and we're going to do some gameplay. Let's go. So looking at the box here, we have our trademark, the dog ear that Hyperkin is known for. HDTV cable for PS2, PS1, 7-foot cable. Notice that they call it an HDTV cable, not an upscaler or anything like that. Again, 7 feet long, HDTV compatible, and they are kind of talking about their quality there. On the back here, the Hyperkin HDTV cable for the PS2 and PS1 lets you conveniently display your favorite PS1 or PS2 titles on your HDTV, supports 720p resolution, and provides crisp stereo audio. The 7-foot cable does require external power to function properly. Before using, please connect the included 6-foot micro cable to the micro port and the other end to a 5-volt 1-amp USB power source, and it does have it in multiple languages here too, just for convenience. I do want to thank Hyperkin for sending us this cable for review. Full disclosure there, they did send us this cable at no charge, but they are not reviewing the content before it goes live. A couple other things in the box, that there for a moment. So we have our little instruction sheet, we'll go over that in a moment. Micro USB cable, which looks to be a decent length, and then the actual cable itself. That end will plug into your PlayStation 1 or 2, and then the other is an HDMI output on it. And then on the side right here, this is where you actually connect that micro USB cable that we set aside just a moment ago. Now, one thing, if you look here, it does also have the Hyperkin logo kind of embossed in the top of the adapter itself. So checking out the quick start here, you need to make sure your PS2 is set to RGB. Start by using your PS2's AV cables to access the system configuration menu. Under Component, Video Output, select RGB. After choosing this setting, turn off your PS2. Insert the HDTV cable into your PS2's multi-output port. Insert the other end into your HDTV or other display. For the PS1, insert the HDTV cable in your PS1's multi-out. Insert the other end in your HDTV. Pretty simple and straightforward there. I mean, nothing, for the PS1 at least, it's a little bit simpler to set up, it looks like. Now we do have our classic PS1 ONE on the bench here, and I just want to test fit the multi-output because it should be pretty similar regardless if I'm using it on the PS1, the PSX, as people have also called this, the PS2, the PS2 Slim. Wow, that's a tight fit. That's a very, very tight fit on the PS1. Let's check our PS2 really quick as well. And for this, we're actually using a PS2 FAT. Let's see. Now, on the top of the connector, it does actually have an arrow indicating this should be the top. So that was, initially when I was trying to insert it into the PSX, I was wondering, do I have the right side? And sure enough, I did. It's just a very tight fit on that one. Let's check it on the PS2. Much easier. So that is something to be aware of, at least on mine, is the multi-output port on the PSX, a tighter fit than on the PS2. Could be just that this system here doesn't have the wear that this one does going into the connector, so this may just be a tighter overall port, but it will fit in either of these, and then additionally with the standard PS1 and the PS2 Slim. So let's hook this up, let's play some games. So we're going to start with the PlayStation 1 or the PSX, just kind of check things out, see the menu and everything. Now, for those who don't remember, the menu on the PlayStation was super simple. Memory card, CD player, that's all it had. We're going to start out here with, a classic for the PlayStation. I'm of course talking about Crash Bandicoot. And it does look like it stretches out and has more of that widescreen appearance on here. This isn't bad. This actually looks pretty sharp. That's one of the nice things with a lot of these cables and upscalers. When you start with a better quality signal initially, you get better output on it. All the pixels and everything, they look pretty sharp. The colors look maybe a slightly deeper red. Let me change my settings on my TV, because a lot of times I mess with my settings so that it looks okay when the TV's on behind everybody. Yep, my backlight was turned way down. That'll affect things for sure. So looking at everything paused here, it looks like it's blowing out the reds a little bit. Looking at Crash, I don't think that he was, had that much orange to him. Thought he had a little bit more red. Ooga booga. Nice thing is the controls feel nice and responsive. There's no additional lag or anything introduced that I can feel thus far. Crash was one of those tough early games for the system as well, just because of the perspective that you're behind him. Judging where you were at from a character standpoint was tougher than the 2D games basically that came out before. Crash is one of those neat games too. Almost like a precursor to Ratchet and Clank, where it was designed to kind of make you, laugh and chuckle as you went through and played it. The one thing too about about Crash and about the PlayStation was just the guerrilla tactics that Sony took going after Nintendo. Hey, plumber boy, your worst nightmare's here, having Crash actually be outside the Nintendo of America headquarters. That was really brilliant. Very guerrilla techniques at the time. Yeah, I have to say, I don't have any major concerns about how responsiveness, there's no discernible lag that I can feel going through here. Gran Turismo is one of those series that I've just always loved ever since I played the first one. Part of it's just the fact I love touring car racing. That's kind of where I had some of my highest success when I was RC racing. We're going to do the Audi TT. We're going to do black. Now, even on this splash screen, what you can see is, look at all the jaggies on here. That's inherent to the system. That has nothing to do with the cable. I don't know that this generation of systems, meaning the PlayStation 1, the N64, and the Saturn, graphically, I don't think that they've aged that well. And just like that, we're already speeding around to the lead. Awesome, Stone Temple Pilots, yeah. Now you can kind of see the speckling and whatnot in the road. That's normal. That's just the output from the game. That has nothing to do with the cable itself. Oh, went in a little bit hot. Used the berm. Got out of there. Awesome. Got a right-hander coming up now. Now, the key to any kind of racing, if you've come along and watched any of my racing game streams, is slow in, fast out. You want to extend that straightaway as much as possible. I have to say Gran Turismo 3 is probably one of my favorite racing games of all time. It was just so well balanced. I spent so much time playing that game. And I am playing using the analog controls that the PS1 came with, which is one of the nice features for this versus having to use the D-pad. I think this is only 2 apps. It is. Let's see as we get past start-finish. Everything, looks relatively good on the PlayStation 1. Now we're going to take it to the next generation, Captain Picard to the bridge. And we are going to check out the PlayStation 2 with this exact same cable, see how it looks. Now, one thing I do want to test out really quick too is what, if anything, will happen if I try to play a DVD through it. And looking here, yeah, looks again like very similar to one of the other cables I tested out, that everything looks green with DVDs, so not designed to upscale your DVDs or output them to your modern flat panel TV. Just something as a heads up. Quite possibly my favorite series of all time on the PlayStation, any platform, is Ratchet & Clank. So we are going to dive into Ratchet & Clank really quick. Insomniac Games brought you Ratchet & Clank, the same people behind Spider-Man. For Insomniac Games worked on this way back in 2002. This game is almost 20 years old and still an amazing series. The text looks really clean. Now, if you look around Ratchet and whatnot, did see some jagginess there. Not nearly as bad as on the PlayStation 1. This actually looks really, really good. Now, this is, if you like collectathons, the Ratchet & Clank series is where you need to check out, because it is all about collecting, smashing. Some of the funniest dialogue ever, too, in any games that I've ever played has been in Ratchet & Clank. It's that type of series that if you liked Earthworm Jim, you would love Ratchet & Clank. And you know, I'm glad to see that there is a new Earthworm Jim coming out for the Amico from Intellivision. You know, because it's been gone for so long, you know, I kind of almost feel like Ratchet & Clank has picked up the mantle of kind of crass humor, I'd say. You know, I'm not, again, getting any lag or delay or anything. This is exactly how I remember this playing, except for better looking. Here's the really cool thing about this series that I've always appreciated. The more you use a weapon, the stronger it gets. So it's not like, you know, a lot of games like, no, you need to hoard your ammo and everything. No, Ratchet & Clank, you need to use your weapons, because the more you use it, the stronger they will get. Well, normally thought of as a game for the PS3, the Xbox 360, and even the Wii, there was actually a version of The Force Unleashed for the PlayStation 2. Actually, I'd say this looks a little bit better than the Wii version, I would say. Clearly not as good as the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox, but definitely something that it looks pretty dang good. Press L1 and the saber button for the saber throw. It's one of my favorite moves ever in this game. There's so many awesome force powers in this game. The lightsaber throw is still one of my favorite moves ever in this game. A little bit of slowdown, but definitely a lot better than what I expected. I mean, again, having played, another Jedi holocron. That's the word I'm looking for. Jedi holocron. I mean, the draw distance and other things aren't nearly as good as the PlayStation 3 version. That's no shock. Yeah, this actually looks better than what I was expecting. Overall, I'd say Lord Vader on the PS2 looks better than I expected. Overall, a pretty decent solution. Let's wrap things up. The Hyperkin HDTV cable for the PS1 and PS2, it works very conveniently. It is a simplistic way to connect your PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 to your modern flat panel TVs without having to use audio-video cables. I do wish that they had a way that they didn't require the external power source, that it could get the power that it needs just off the signal coming through the HDMI cable. That's my one minor nitpick about the overall design of the cable itself. I do also wish that instead of being a male to male end, it was a male to female, like a dongle, so that way I could utilize whatever length cable that I wanted to connect it to my TVs. Like downstairs in my living room, I have all my HDMI cables run through the wall, and my flat panel TV, much like this, is connected or is mounted to the wall itself, and the cables exit the wall behind the TV. I wouldn't be able to use this solution on that television for now unless I use like a female to female gender changer adapter, and anytime you adapt that kind of cable, you can get some signal loss through there, which is not ideal. Image quality was good, the audio was great. Overall, everything that I would have expected this to do, it did, and then some. Now, if you are looking to pick up the HDTV cable for the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 1, make sure you check out CastleManiaGames.com. The cool thing, they've got a lot of the Hyperkin accessories up there. Ryan has a ton of cool retro video gaming stuff. And if you use promo code ROCKSOLID10, you can save 10% off of most items on the website. And the more you spend, the more you earn with Castle Cash. It's kind of a rewards program that Ryan has set up there on the channel for everyone to go ahead and check out. Oh, one minor thing I do have to mention too, the fact that it was a tight fit going in my PlayStation 1 here versus my standard PlayStations or my PS2 Fat that I have here. Very simple to plug it into this, a little bit more challenging to get it into here. I was not expecting that. Now, if you do have any comments or questions, let me know what you think down in the comments section. As always, you can also send me an email at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at RockSolidStudios, Facebook at facebook.com/RockSolidProductions, and Instagram at instagram.com/RockSolidProductionsGK. If you want, you can also support the channel in a couple of different ways too. Head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/rocksolid, just like these amazing people that you see on screen right now. For just $1 a month, $12 a year, you can get early access to all of our video content, exclusive one-on-ones, and discounts on mod services coming up too. So make sure that you help us out over there, and everything that we do raise does get invested right back into the channel. You can also pick up some Rock Solid Productions swag by heading over to our Teespring store on screen right now, where we've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, beanies, hoodies, and more, all depending on what kind of style you prefer. We also have different cartridge style logos from NES, Super NES, and N64. And finally, like I mentioned in the beginning, if you like what you see here, if you want to see more, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. That way each and every time we do come out with new content, you're kept the most up to date. Again, a decent solution for connecting your PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 to your TV. Decent price point on here as well. I don't think that the video quality is quite as good as going through Component and an upscaler, but this is a lot less expensive, and this will not allow you to watch DVDs properly. It has that green hue, just like some of the other cables that we've tested for the PlayStation 2 like this. I am Gary, this has been Rock Solid Productions and our test of the HDTV cable for the PlayStation 1 and PS2 from Hyperkin. I thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.